Okay, so anyway, there I was playing Halo Reach, balls deep in a hog, and out of nowhere, my grandma comes into the room with pigs in a blanket, and I yell at her, "Hey, grandma, what the fuck are you doing?" She drops pigs in the blanket. I'm on my hands and knees trying to pick them up. She's on the ground. She's fainted. It is wild up in here.
Okay. And that's a wrap. As the sun rises, so do we. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 11th episode of the SunRising podcast. My name is Colin,
And my name is Taylor.
and in this podcast, we'll be talking about The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 6, Chapter 14, The Tragedy. We'll be talking all throughout this episode, give a little breakdown, and cover some of our predictions that we have about it. But this is Episode 11. Let's see where the day takes us. So, Taylor, you got any life updates before we go? If you want to skip through this, go right to the podcast like we did last episode. Feel free to jump to this time period right here. But before that, Taylor, you got any life updates?
Nothing really. I moved around my desk and the stuff on my desk, and I got a mic set up now. Got a little mixing board. It's pretty cool. Helps when I make music. And I got a new wallpaper on my computer, and since I'm too cheap to afford a new CPU, it makes it feel like brand new piece of hardware.
That's awesome. Two things actually stood out. First thing, you're really repping up the gaming setup then with the and the recording studio setup with all that new changes. And you said about stuff about making music. What kind of music do you make?
Uh, I've just got FL Studio, and I just make some beats here and there.
There you go.
Humble stuff, humble stuff.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because I've been recently here at college. I've been randomly making some songs with one of my friends, and it's just some kind of joke, kind of memey stuff. We're nowhere near great singers. I've mentioned in our intro video, if you go all the way back there in the YouTube channel here, I talked about how I did theater. I have a sort of music voice, but it's not like crazy. But we just have been messing around, so that's kind of funny. I guess some more stuff on my end is October 7th. It's been a couple of months now, but that's my birthday, and I had gotten a VR headset for that, and that's been pretty fun, jamming to that, doing some good things like Beat Saber is a classic, but that's pretty fun and exciting. I also started playing Jedi Fallen Order. We talked about it last episode, and I was very intrigued, and I wanted to learn more about the character Cal Kestis, so I took the bullet. Cyber Monday came around and the game was going for like $27 instead of like $60, and I instantly jumped on that, and that's been a lot of fun. I've been progressing through that, and I know you've played that game so much too, Taylor.
Oh yeah, two almost three times.
There you go.
It's definitely worth $60.
Like all the way through? All the way through, you
Yeah,
said? Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. First one I did, I think it was just like Jedi Master or something like that.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
second one for New Game Plus, I did. Well, I went halfway through on Grandmaster, and then New Game Plus came out. So I restarted on New Game Plus, and I just finished that like a month or two ago on Grandmaster.
That's awesome.
Like
That takes
everything.
skill. Well, I guess with that being said, we can jump right into our topic. If anything else, otherwise we'll jump right in.
No, I'm good.
Alright, so we'll go through a little overview first. So this episode, The Tragedy, starts off, it has Mandalorian arriving on Tython, where he's going to that Jedi temple that they talked about last episode. There, Grogu is finally put on the rock that they talked about, and asked, just basically having him try to use the Force. Of course, being the little baby Yoda that he is, he doesn't want to cooperate at first, kind of finicky. But eventually he does, and you got a force field that starts to surround him, and it prevents Mandalorian from getting getting to contact with him. Then you get one of the greatest reveals. You get the Slave One flying in, and Mandalorian's trying to obviously get into fight or flight mode. He wants to protect Grogu, and he can't get into that force field, so he ends up leaving him be. But yep, Boba Fett arrives, and he's with Fennec Shan, who we saw in season 1. Now she's got a robotic Adaman, and they all arrive on that Slave One ship. Boba Fett is trying to pursue the Mandalorian to get back his armor that he got from Jango, and obviously Mando doesn't want to give it up since Boba Fett's not technically a Mandalorian. Then they eventually come to an agreement to give back, where Mando will give back the armor to Boba Fett in exchange for Boba Fett helping protect Grogu. That kind of happens right as two shuttles arrive with stormtroopers sent by Moff Gideon. The troopers start to filter out. You see him getting gunned down, just absolutely destroyed. You see Boba Fett getting pretty badass. He's in his armor finally. He sees it in the ship and goes for it, gets it on, and you just see him clobbering with like the Tusken Raider club beforehand, and then you see him finally get his armor back, and there's that cool, just awesome moment of Boba being Boba. All the fans have wanted to see him more. He was a hot hit in the original series, and they just kind of supposedly killed him off in Sarlacc, and everyone kind of hated that. But I think this season in particular, and that episode, did a really good job just really showing how cool Boba Fett actually is, and I think that's definitely
amazing.
Yeah, right. Just such a good fan favorite kind of add-in scene there. But yeah, so Fett and Shan and Mando all fight together in this epic fight of destroying all these stormtroopers. And unfortunately then you see a sad moment. Moff Gideon, one of the tragedies, should I say, of this episode is Moff Gideon destroys the Razor Crest. And then he sends 4 Dark Troopers. They're sent down, and they capture the child after he comes back out of his force field thing. He collapses due to exhaustion from not really using the Force that much. So the child collapses, the robotic Dark Troopers take him, and they go back to the ship and they retreat into hyperspace. And at this point, obviously Mando's kind of distraught, but he is looking around. He finds the Beskar spear and metal ball that Grogu really likes to play with in the wreckage of the Razor Crest. And obviously right now Boba Fett got his armor back that he wanted, but Boba Fett and Shan said that they did keep an agreement and that they were going to keep their word, so they will still keep their end up with the bargain and help get the child back in return for Boba Fett getting his armor. So they give that agreement. Mando goes to, eventually they bring Mando out back to Marshal Cara Dune in order to break out the criminal Mayfield that we saw towards the end of season 1. I think it was the prison escape one. But
yeah, wasn't that played by Bill Burr?
Yeah. Yep. He's pretty awesome. He was the one who had just like the gun strapped to his shoulder, just mowing down people. So Mando obviously thinks that guy will be a good addition to the club, should I say, of the people that'll go and rescue the child. And then you kind of cut to Grogu, just completely destroying some stormtroopers with his Force powers. They're
Awesome.
kind of poking fun of him, and yeah, it's just awesome. Like Taylor just said, he's using the Force, slamming them against walls, smashing their heads together. And Moff Gideon and the Dr. Pershing got in, and the Moff Gideon just basically said, let it happen, because he was so intrigued by how much metachlorian was inside this child, Grogu. And the scene was kind of creepy, you know. It's Moff Gideon just kind of pulls out the Darksaber and is like, you like this, like, remind you of something. It's kind of weird, but yeah. Then it kind of ends there. So what are your in general thoughts of the episode?
I really liked it. I think it was the best episode, probably of the entire show for me.
Yeah, I like this one and last episode probably the best so far. They were really good.
Mm-hmm. Way better than the entirety of season 1, I would say.
True. Yeah. Season 1 was great for like the introduction and some of the lore, but I do think this one has a lot of good like kind of nods for fans. So
I think that the new Star Wars canon and like the new Star Wars media is way better than, dare I say, back when George Lucas had it.
Yeah, I think I could agree.
I mean, I know there was a lot of like books and lore and games and stuff. But I don't know. I think Mandalorian just takes the cake. I was when Baby Yoda Grogu was had that Force shield up. That kind of reminded me of like Fallen Order.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know. Just gave me strong vibes of that.
yeah. You
It's all.
wanna
I feel like it's all. What?
you wanna explain a little bit, kind of your thought process with that?
Um, I think like there's like writing on the stone, and it looked like it was all just coming from that and going like straight up, like the force field.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of reminded me of like the meditation points in Fallen Order.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see what you're talking about. Yeah, because in Fallen Order, you go around to all the little meditation points, and they're just carved engravings in the ground, and then you go to meditate on them, and they all light up. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I see what you're saying with that equating of the two. It's definitely a relationship there.
Hmm.
um, I guess we can move on to some. I guess from my perspective, I obviously thought it was a great episode.
Hmm.
I felt very. I guess I should say like entangled. I guess with all everything, I was very intrigued. It kept me on my feet. I loved all the fan service they did with Boba Fett bringing in the armor that it's been a couple of years, doesn't really quite fit him as well as it used to. But
Yeah.
I,
Chunky fat.
yes, yes. But I like the dynamic, and I like that. Hopefully, we get to see obviously some more of Boba Fett and Mandalorian getting together, and we're starting to see a crew develop that I'm pretty happy about. You got Mando, you got Boba Fett, you got the ex-assassin, um, sorry, Fennec Shan. Uh,
Hmm.
Maybe Ahsoka will come back for this rescue. Like it just
Maybe.
seems like it would be a pretty epic kind of rescue mission that could be happening next episode here.
What if Luke is the Jedi and then he
Yeah,
keeps
so
Boba Fett?
that's a good point there is we did not see the Jedi. So
Hmm.
they talked about that a Jedi would come and go to there when Grogu meditated, but we didn't actually see a Jedi come. So it could be interesting. So are you pretty set on thinking that it's Luke, or do you think it is some other people still too?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't bet money that it's Luke, but I also wouldn't put money that it's Ezra either. I think it could just be a new Jedi, a new character that we haven't seen before. So
Yeah,
I don't think I don't think they would do that much fan service. But I wouldn't think Luke or Ezra would be fan service. I don't know. I feel like they should introduce more characters to the story.
yeah. I think some of the I'm not opposed to a new character. Um, you've got a lot of things like Rebels introduced new Jedi there with Ezra Miller and then Caleb Doom. Um, and I think every time they do introduce new characters, like it's great fan service. Like Fallen Order, you got Cal Kestis, who is new for that game. And I think if they just play the character right, like it's really good. They do really well with it each time. So I mean, they brought in a new character that fights along with Mando or gets close with and ends up training Grogu. I think it's totally fine, but I think there could be some potential still to use a character that we might have known. I'm not quite ruling out uh, Ezra Bridger yet, based off of the fact that we got Thrawn coming in soon. Um, so
Yeah, I think that could be a red herring, but I mean, you never know.
yeah, it could be. It's definitely could just be a shout out throwaway kind of fan service line, but I think it could be interesting. I would
I mean, I
also
wouldn't mind.
go ahead. Yeah, I would also still love. I would love to see it be Cal. I
Oh,
think
I would love it.
I know
Cameron
it's like
Monaghan.
we talked last episode about how it's kind of rough if they are adding in a bunch of new characters and taking from all sorts of different universes, and it might not be the best. But I do think if we get some Cal Kestis action in like this season 2, it could be interesting, even if it's like a last episode or something, and then maybe the second Jedi Fallen Order that's said to be coming out could take place or something around that episode. But
Oh, that'd be cool.
it would be something
I
I'd be looking
wonder.
into.
I wonder how. You see, because the thing is, Fallen Order takes place before Episode 4, I believe,
Yeah.
and and Mandalorian takes place 9 years after Episode 4.
I don't want spoilers because I'm currently playing the game, but I don't exactly know where Fallen Order technically ends. But in relationship to the time period, does Fallen Order line up with Episode 4?
Uh, well, not like Rogue One.
Yeah, no. Obviously, yeah,
But
Rogue One's like right
I
there, but
yeah, I mean it's after the Purge, so it's after Order 66. Um, but it's before Episode 4, I believe. I don't know
I mean,
how
you do see some
smooth.
hints, like I guess I'm blanking on the name, but in Rogue One, you see the guy that's all dressed up in the machinery wear. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yes. His name is old man played by Forrest Whitaker.
Yep. We'll
Saw
put the
Gerrera. Saw Gerrera.
Saul Guerrero. That's it. You
Yeah,
see Saul Guerrero, who
he looks just like he does in Rogue
Rogue
One.
One. Yeah, so it's like where how Saul. I kind of have a timeline with Saul Guerrero here, and he looks exactly like Rogue One. So it's kind of right there, and then where Rogue One ends is where Episode 4 basically begins, because the intro screen down of Episode 4 was that they got the plans from a rogue team of bandits that there is the Death Star. So Rogue One goes right into Episode 4, and Star Wars Fallen Jedi Order does have some aspects of Rogue One with like people like Saul Guerrero in it. So it could be definitely possible that he could be tied in. I don't know. We'll see, but I think it could be a great Jedi to bring in. Well, other than that, I guess we can go into predictions. Do you have any predictions that you want to make, or things that you want to talk about in general before we wrap up?
Hmm. Uh, Predictions. For next episode. I don't think we'll see the Jedi yet. If we do, I think it'll be at the end. And if it is Luke, or Ezra, I think it'll just be like very quick.
Yeah.
Like it's like 2 seconds. I don't think it's gonna be Cal. After this conversation that we just had, I don't think it's Cal.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
might be
I'm not,
right, but
that's not a spoiler for Fallen Order or anything, but I just don't think it'll be Cal.
okay. I mean, obviously one thing's clear. This is episode 6. The first season had 8 episodes. And I think there was talk that this season is also 8 episodes. We really only have 2
I
more.
believe so.
So yeah, like we really only have 2 more episodes. So we get episode 7 where they're gonna be trying to get Grogu back, and I think episode 7 and episode 8 are gonna be that fight that we've been waiting for since the end of season 1 between our man in the black with our dark saber and Mando himself. I think are gonna probably be the last 2 episodes there. So. And
Yeah, I don't think they'll get Grogu back till episode 8.
Yeah, I think Grogu is gonna be Grogu and the Jedi. I think are gonna be what episode 8 ends off on, and then maybe if they want to do something with Thrawn will be episode 8. So that's kind of where I'm
Or
thinking.
they don't reveal him, or they don't reveal him till the end. And
Yeah.
you gotta wait all the way until season 3 to see Thrawn. Oh, I'd be so mad.
Yeah, it would be.
Oh my
I'd be so
gosh.
mad. I'd want to see action, but I would be happy that they're bringing him in. So.
Oh, I do have a topic,
Oh yeah, sure. Throw it
if
out.
I may. um, Boba Fett's armor.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it Is it Beskar or is it
Yeah.
Durasteel?
Okay, so in the episode, it does talk where Boba at the end shows Mando the little hologram thing coming out of his gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what ultimately Mando feels comfortable allowing Boba Fett to have the armor because it said that Jango Fett was a foundling. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know Star Wars traditional lore usually states that Boba Fett's armor is not Beskar. Um,
It's Durasteel, which he
yep.
got the dent in his helmet from a deleted or unfinished episode of Clone Wars when he was fighting Cad Bane in a shootout. I think that's how Bane
Oh.
died, and then he got that ding in his helmet because it was Durasteel, not Beskar. But if Jango Fett was a foundling, you would think that his armor would be Beskar. Is that now canon? I have no idea.
Yeah, see, first off, I didn't know that that's how the dent happened. That's pretty awesome. Um, I think that they have done things in the Mandalorian series that aren't necessarily canon. Um, like obviously, I guess a big thing, Boba Fett being alive. I mean that in regular
Oh, baby.
Star Wars lore, besides like comics, like it was clear that he's dead. And then the
Mhm.
comics came out with him surviving and getting out of the Sarlacc pit, and now we see that in Mandalorian. But I wouldn't put it past them to say that the armor is Beskar. But I know that technically it's Durasteel. But I think it
Yeah.
was. I don't think it's necessarily the type of armor that matters to Mando. It's the style
Mhm.
of the armor.
Right. I think, well, yes to what you said, but I also think that Beskar is just important to him anyway, as a Mandalorian.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I wonder if what the Mandalorian had before he had Beskar, before he got it forged, I wonder if that
Oh,
was Durasteel, and if that's what
that's
Boba has.
That's a good thought process, because if you look back at some of season one, all that like reddish bronzy armor was dented, scratched up, all that. And then,
Badass and rugged.
yep, and as he went on and he got that Beskar from taking on bounty hunting missions, he was able to change his armor. So I think you might be onto something with that, being that all the regular Mandos kind of start out with maybe a Durasteel, and then as they level up and become like a higher status in their society, they slowly get the more advanced armor and become well-known fighters like the first Mandalorian who became a Jedi and ultimately had the dark saber. So I think you're definitely onto
Hmm,
something with that.
could be, could be. But I mean, what do I know? I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the galaxy.
True, true. Well, I think that might do it then for this episode. Do you think so too?
Oh yeah, I think that was a good one.
Alright, well, that was episode 11 of the SunRising podcast. Just remember that we're bringing you a new episode. We're going to probably try for Sundays with the rest of these Mandalorian episodes. Then after that gets done, we'll switch back to our Wednesdays at 7:30. Time will stay the same. Just look for these episodes to come out at 7:30 on Sundays. And then when it goes back to after the season ends, we'll probably go back to our Wednesdays at 7:30. But if you want to support us, make sure you subscribe, leave a like, and hit that notification bell. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you do all those stuff. If you want to follow us on Twitter and or Instagram, you can do that at SunRising YT. The links for those are in the description as well. And as well, you could join our Discord using the link in the description. Like we've mentioned previously, our Discord's really awesome. You can leave topic suggestions. You can also come and just play video games with us if you want. You can even be put into our podcast. If you give up a topic that we like, we'll bring you in and we'll let you talk. So feel free to join that if you're interested or want to have more. We play all sorts of games on there. There's like Among Us chats, there's Minecraft chats, and if you want to play a certain game and you can get a bunch of people to want to do it, we'll make a chat for that too and a voice call. So it's kind of just a fun place for everyone to hang out if you're interested. We really hope everyone enjoyed, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye!
See ya.